Hello, this is Zarin, and I'd like to talk about more secrets revealed by the tarot. This is part 4. In part 1, I talked about the Fibonacci sequence, and I mentioned 2 other dates besides 12/21/2012 that were Fibonacci sequence. In part 2, I talked about secrets revealed in the tarot about 12/21/2012. Today I'd like to talk about a combination. There were 2 other dates that had the Fibonacci sequence, so I decided to look into those dates and into the tarot and see what they said. And so I looked into the day 18 days before 12/21/2012, which is 12/3/2012. And in the 12/21/2012 grouping, you'll notice that the world is going to be replaced by the Empress, which will put her, the number 3, in the date 12/3/2012. Now, the Empress is a very powerful card. It represents women, it represents sensuality, it represents Mother Earth or Gaia, it represents nature, and it could possibly even represent the Virgin Mary, because she's often referred to as the Queen of Heaven, or obviously the Empress of Heaven. And that's something I'd like you to take into consideration as we discuss this card, because this date, 12/3/2012, is exactly 18 days before 12/21/2012. And these are the only 2 Fibonacci sequence dates, other than one, which occurred shortly after Jesus was born. So there are only 3 dates. And this particular date, this particular card could be referring to something that's going to happen on that date, possibly with Mother Nature, with the Earth. But there's a symbol of Venus on this card, and Venus is a very powerful symbol. We do have a transit of Venus, a very rare transit of Venus, in 2012 on the 5th and 6th in June, and on 12/21/2012 there's supposed to be a transit of Venus that can only be seen from Saturn. I don't know what that means, and so I'm not going to take a guess. But it's possible that this card could mean that on that date there may be a visitation from the Virgin Mary to somebody on that date, and she may reveal what's going to happen on 12/21/2012. Now, the number 18, which is the 18 days between the 2 dates, it can be reduced to a primary number in numerology of 9. And 9 basically is represented by Mars and can represent a people struggling with great difficulty. Now, that in itself makes me wonder what's going to happen between the 3rd of December and the 21st of December. More likely, something's going to be conveyed, or some signal is going to be conveyed on this particular day. If the Virgin Mary were to make a visitation that time, she might be telling us either we're going to have a very difficult time or we're going to be saved. But the last most important time the Virgin Mary appeared was at Fatima, and she appeared to 3 children, and one of them was Lucia, who later went on to become a nun because the other 2 died young. Lucia was given 3 letters, and those 3 letters were opened over different periods of time. Now, the first 2 predicted World War I, and the second one predicted World War II. Now, the third one was not opened until Pope John Paul II came into existence, and he is supposedly said to have read the letter but not revealed all of its contents because he was greatly disturbed by what he read. Now, this could all just be guesswork on our part, but I think maybe the Virgin Mary might be appearing to us on that date to reveal what was not revealed to us. Now, the Empress only replaces the world on that card, so it means something having to do with women, nature, spirituality, sensuality. It is going to happen to us on that particular date, and then we're going to have 18 days of struggle before we get to 12/21/2012, which is the beginning of a 10-day cycle that leads to 2013, and I showed you all that information in part 3. Now there is another date. That date is 12/3 in the year 5, which ostensibly is only 5 years after Jesus is supposedly have been born. Now many archaeologists believe that the date for Jesus' birth is arbitrary, and that they believe he might have been born several years earlier than that date, and some believe he might have been born several years after that date. Well, the third Fibonacci year is 12/3 in the year 5, and it is quite possible that that may be Jesus' actual birthday. And I'll tell you why. I looked at those numbers in the tarot. The number 12, the Hanged Man, the number 3, the Empress, and the number 4, or number 5, the Hierophant. Now that's a very interesting combination of cards, and it is only one of 3 possible dates that a Fibonacci sequence could occur since the so-called birth of Jesus. And it's possible that Pamela Coleman Smith, who designed the Rider-Waite Tarot, was given the secret of Jesus' birth in these cards, because the Hanged Man is quite often referred to as the crucifixion. It's not technically that, but it could be, because these cards are open to many, many interpretations. And the Empress could very well be the Virgin Mary, which would be, it's one of the pregnancy cards, it's one of the sensuality cards, and it's definitely about fecundity, and that means giving life, bringing life. But the third card is the Hierophant. And that is a very spiritual man. So what these cards for that date are saying is that a very spiritual man was born to a woman who will die on a cross. Now in the Hierophant, it also suggests that whoever this is might have been responsible for creating the Roman Catholic Church and all other Christian religions. So take it from me, I think we may have actually found the birthday of Jesus of Nazareth, which was the 12th December 3rd, meaning he is a Sagittarius, but it wasn't on the 25th of December, it was the 3rd, and it was in the year 5. So if that is the case, if this is his birthday, then now we know why there are only 3 Fibonacci sequences since he was born. And the number 3 is supposed to be the sacred number of God, the great mystery, whatever you want to call it. It's also the sacred number of the perfect triangle. There are many associations with the number 3. But take it from me, I believe this is very important. I think the signals in it are very important. I may not have all the answers as to what they mean, but I think I am onto something. So those 18 days between the 3rd of December 2012 and the 21st of December 2012 could very well be significant.